instances of paranormal phenomena have been reported in this desolate place. Events that may reflect the area's tragic past.
Welcome to the renowned Comedy Store on Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood. Many of America's most famous comedians got their start at this popular club. But some people say that on certain nights, you're likely to catch a very different kind of show. One guaranteed to create a lot more chills than chuckles. Is a Comedy Store truly haunted from the basement to the rafters? Tonight we've come to the legendary night spot to see for ourselves.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Other Dangerous Podcast, where we talk all things paranormal. I'm Ken James, and this is Jason McKittrick.
Hey, folks.
And if it can haunt, how, or dwell in the dark, we want to talk about it. So after another foray into UFOs and alien abductions, we're bringing it on home to ghost stories.
Oh, yeah, Ghost Town.
Hell yeah. And this week, we're going to the legendary Comedy Store. Now, the Comedy Store was, the jumping off point for so many comedians across the country and is responsible for some really big careers. Richard Pryor, Robin Williams, Tim Allen, you name it, they were there, and shit got weird, bottom line. But so tonight, before we get into that, we're going to go over to Jay for tonight's jump scare.
All right. Yeah, thanks. This one comes to us from Kristen from Baltimore. She says, hey, guys, really liking the show. You guys crap me up. Oh, thanks. Thanks,
Yay.
Kristen. So Kristen says, to this day, there was a kid in my class that no one else remembers. I distinctly remembering playing with this kid in kindergarten, and we were pretty much inseparable. About a month past Christmas break, he disappeared. No one remembered him, not the teachers or others in my class. No one. I even asked the school counselor if he was okay, and she humored me by going through records to see if he'd been transferred. She couldn't find a thing. I think about this at least once a month, and this is like 20 years later.
So what happened?
Well, this is a friend of my wife's, and like I asked her a little more about this, and she says, no, this kid was in my class. He sat next to me. I talked to him. She didn't want to say his name for some reason. I don't know why, but I'm like, well, he's a ghost boy, I guess.
Yeah.
But she says that nobody else remembers him but her. I was like, well, you're obviously psychotic.
Yeah. Yeah, you lunatic.
Yeah, but now she said she was listening to one of our earlier shows, and like she was like, oh, that'd be perfect for your podcast. I was like, yeah, no, just type it up. But
well, thank you.
Yeah, that's her thing. And she says she thinks about it literally like once a month. She's like, yeah, I remember him. And it's just like, why doesn't anyone else remember that guy? She's a very normal person, by the way. So I don't think she's nuts.
Well, let's see. Either this kid was abducted by aliens and everyone was, brain wiped. He was a ghost the whole time, and this is a total Sixth Sense situation.
Right.
Or he was murdered.
One of those. I asked her, I was like, oh, did he have a green ribbon around his neck?
They untied it.
Yeah.
Or when she asked, she was like, Timmy Smith, he's been dead for 13 years.
Yep, the same thing. They all look. Yep. Ooh, everyone looks at everyone looks at the camera. He was a ghost. But yeah. Thanks, Kristen. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Kristen. Love it.
So, Ken, the Comedy Store.
The fucking Comedy Store.
So, first of all, I had to do this, and I'm sure you're in the same boat. I'm a huge fan of stand-up comedy. Like,
oh, absolutely.
Huge. So, like,
reared on it.
Oh, yeah. Like, I mean, Pryor back in the day.
Eddie
Murphy, Chris Rock.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the list goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
But, like, I just had to do this one because in my memory of, growing up listening to stand-up comedy or like, pretending I was asleep in my room and opening my bedroom door, listening to the ones I shouldn't be listening to that my parents were watching. I remember once again, sorry folks, we're like a broken record here, the episode of Unsolved Mysteries where they go and they talk about the Comedy Store.
Shocker. Whoa.
Shocker. Sorry, next week will be Sighting. Sorry, folks. No, next week will be Scary Stories or
The Scariest Places on Earth. Yeah.
Scariest Places on Earth. Or, they just did a reboot of the Nick show. Oh, You're Afraid of the Dark.
Yeah, they did.
Reboot of
Yeah.
that. I heard it's ass.
Yeah, I watched them. Brittany put on the put on the first couple episodes, and I was like, "This is dog shit."
Okay, good. All right. So anyway, I mean, there's, this is how, going how far back it was that I remember, hearing about this, that like Comedy Store. Oh yeah, there's ghosts there. And that was like, that concept to me, even back then, was interesting. Cause it's like, wait, people go there to fucking laugh, but there's ghosts too. So it's like, it's like a sweet and salty kind of thing going on.
Yeah,
you get your comedy, but you get your ghosts. And,
no better setting. There's no better setting in my mind.
No better setting. And, to this day, you can ask, most comics, if they're going to be, candid with you, that have, that were, alumni of that place, had a run-in with their resident spirit, Gus, who's their guy over there. Allegedly, he's the main guy who runs there. But, it's one of those things where it's like, you hear these, there's plenty of YouTube videos, there's plenty of whatever, you can look this up, and it's comedians telling stories, right? It's what they do.
Yep.
It's like, all right, so is this just like a fun little ghost story that they tell, or is it like, they actually have anything? But it's hard to say. But I always found that little dichotomy interesting. It's like, oh, you got the ghosts, but you got the comedy. So
Oh yeah.
had to pull this one down.
Well, and
So-
also too, most comedians in reality, they're really dark people in there.
Oh hell yeah, the sad clown motif. Absolutely.
Yeah. So like, I think there's nothing better than like a club like that, like a close knit group. Everyone kind of eventually ends up working there in some
Yeah.
facet, just to kind of get their foot in the door, and
Yeah.
and then the closer they get with Mitzi, like
Yeah.
everything kind of got put you in place and position to get
Yeah.
more stage time. So like.
100%. And if location means anything to what a haunting means, I mean, this is a hell of a location, man. I mean, because even before the Comedy Store, we have its illustrious history beforehand. So I'm just gonna give a little rundown. I'm not gonna get too crazy, but the building was originally built in the early 1930s during Prohibition. It was originally called the Club Seville. Speakeasy and, a den of illegal gambling, but it wasn't open. Oh yeah. But it was eventually closed in 1938 by, LA Vice Squad. It wasn't, that wasn't like its, that was just its premiere, right? That was just, that was the pilot episode for the building. But in January of 1940 is when it all started to come to a head, because it opened as Ciro's, the nightclub of Los Angeles at the time. It was opened by the infamous entrepreneur William Wilkerson, Billy, at 8433 Sunset Boulevard, right on the Sunset Strip. Wilkerson was known for, he founded the Hollywood Reporter. He was a big real estate developer in Las Vegas, and famously had ties to gangsters such as Bugsy Siegel and Mickey Cohen.
Yeah, man.
So Ciro's was like I said, the most popular club in Hollywood at the time. Amongst the stars that frequented the club, just a few: Marilyn Monroe, Humphrey Bogart, Frank Sinatra, James Dean, Lucille Ball, Joan Crawford, Dean Martin, Jerry Lewis, Mickey Rooney, Cary Grant, George Burns, Judy Garland, and numerous others. I had to cut that list down by like a tenth. And another little interesting tidbit: during his first visit to Hollywood in the late 1940s, future President John F. Kennedy dined at Ciro's. Ooh, yeah. So exactly. So this seems to be the time period, right? It's lots of energy passed through this place, right? Specifically in that period of time, right? And the ghosts that inhabit this building seem to come from this period. Right. It's that, everyone talks about Gus or characters that seem to be dressed in, 1930s or 1940s, gangster garb.
Dick Tracy.
Yeah. Well, oh, yeah. So, do you think they saw the blank there? From Dick Tracy.
I'm a miss. It's been
Madonna's character. He had the no face.
Oh, I'm
You
sorry.
son
Yeah.
of a bitch.
I'm a son of a bitch. Yeah.
You just became the blank.
Yeah, it sounded like, it was like,
Yeah.
Yeah, come on.
Okay,
Get right on
all
my
right.
cage sometimes. I'll get on the page.
Yeah, so this was the place, man, and it was said for years that mob hits were actually carried out in the building by Mickey Cohen. So apparently Wilkerson had the place, but because he was given money to build the place by Bugsy Siegel and Mickey Cohen working for him, he would actually come there to shake him down for the money every week, come and get his money. But then he also kept an office in the building, and he would actually have his meetings there and things like that. And then when he was collecting there, when people couldn't pay, just whack them right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
So-
one of the cool stories I heard was like there was like a door that kind of just like led out. And sometimes they're like, "Hey, come up to the office," and you'd open the door, and it would just, you think it's a dark room, and you'd walk out, fall, boom, break both your fucking legs, and then walk
That-
back. You gonna pay?
Yep, that, and then there was also another one where he would watch people coming up the stairs from this little there's like a diamond shaped hole in the door, and he would watch people coming up the stairs, and if it was the guy he was waiting for, the guy wouldn't even make it up the stairs. He would just shoot him through the door. So fucked up.
And it's so fucked up, and I laughing at it. It's kind of a sick thing, but it's just like,
Yeah.
Jesus, man.
Yeah, and I mean, there's no like concrete dates or names, but like it's just known. It's like these things did occur there.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's also rumored that there's numerous people buried in the basement. And that was one of the things that people reported was like that basement is creepy as hell. And then the other rumor, whether it's true or not, is that illegal abortions were also carried out on the premises.
Yeah.
It'll happen.
It will happen.
So a few of the recurring hauntings that seem to happen here. These are the lower level ones. These are the people specific ones. So
These are your
there's
pawns, your pawn hauntings.
Yeah. These are so waitresses at the club, and this is busy all the time. Waitresses, they'd set the tables, right? Finish setting up for the night, in anticipation for a comedy show that night. They'd leave the room for literally 10 seconds, turn around, and everything would be unset, right? Tablecloths taken off and folded, ashtrays put back, and enough to where it was like it happened to girls would be there for like one night and be like, yeah, I can't deal with this.
Yeah.
Another common occurrence being candles would relight themselves. End of the night they're going around. Remember those old those glass candle holders that they keep on the table with like the I think they're called, are they hurricane glasses? I forget the name.
Might be, but like Goodfellas style. Like,
yeah. So end of the night, you're going around blowing them all out, and they turn around and they just go be back on. Just
don't
good
like
old
it.
ghosting.
Yeah, good old fashioned parlor tricks, as they say on the other side.
Yeah, see. And then another one that I really liked was the same kind of situation. They put the chairs back and everything. They walk out of the room, come back literally 10 seconds later, and the chairs would be stacked in what they called strange configurations.
Like poltergeist, like just
No, more like no human being would stack chairs like this. And that's a good one because I like that one because the people that were telling that story were like, oh, 10 seconds. They're like, and they would stack these chairs, and like you would have to like do work to make them stack like this.
Yeah,
like it wasn't just like stacked right, like they were stacked at weird angles, and like they were like those weird just like metal, almost like not folding office chairs, but like those shitty like
they're
dive
hollow
bars.
hollow metal fucking
Yeah. Yep. And another one that's also reported, and it was reported by comedian Blake Clark. He witnessed a stool. That's something you sit on, not poop. He witnessed a stool being dragged across the stage, and one night, and then also an ashtray was levitated into the air and then thrown at him.
His reenactments on the Unsolved Mysteries episode.
Yes.
Oh man, gold. Gold.
The bending gate.
Yeah. It's, and then the other comedian like doing the what do you want? Or whatever.
Yeah.
A far cry from the Adam Sandler movies he's in now.
Oh Jesus! Yeah, seriously. That and so they have that sighting in the basement, right? So they go down to the basement. They're like, all right, they dared each other, right? They it was all night, you know, two comedians fucking with each other, right? They're like, no, I dare you. No, I dare you. No, I dare you. So they finally make their way down to the basement, and you know, what do they see? But this black amorphous mass.
Yeah.
And yeah, dude, Unsolved Mysteries is like, what are you? Who are you?
And yeah, when our boy's like standing behind him doing his best like acting job of just like
Ooh.
playing like terrified but like just like kind of dumbfounded.
But
Great
like I just want to get this take right. I don't want to get punched by Robert Stack.
Yeah. I can't have another pair of fucking brass knuckles land in my forehead again.
Exactly. Another one that I came across, this was not part of the show. This is a random one, part of an article, a recent write-up about Ghost at the Comedy Store. She's an unnamed comedian who has a Netflix special. So that narrows it down to about 5 different girls. So, I mean, whatever. She said that one night she was asleep in the main room after hours, which is something that these guys apparently do. Like comedians go there, they hang out, they pass out, they sleep in booths. It's real loose over there.
Yeah.
And she's sleeping in one of the booths, and middle of the night, she's awoken by ballroom music. All right. She looks up, and the room had been transformed back to like its 1940s glory, and the room was filled with people in formal attire dancing.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah, that's like The Shining. Like she jumps up, runs out, sets off the alarm. The police show up. They actually they did a whole like police report and everything. And like after that, she won't perform at the Comedy Store anymore.
Yeah,
I don't know exactly who it is, but
yeah, I think it was Princess.
Oh yeah. I can't think of her name.
Yeah, but that reminds me of a story my mother had when she was a kid. She was at her old farmhouse, the real haunted one, and in the middle of the night, like the whole family was sick. They all had the flu or something, and she heard what was like a party going on, like an old timey partying. It was getting louder and louder and louder until she finally was just like, "Shut up!" and it stopped. But yeah, just like,
yeah, no, it's very interesting because it's like you have these two, you know, all those actors and actresses that were there in the 30s and 40s, right? Like, you know, all those people that came in and out of there. That's a crazy amount of energy, right? So they're all in there, and then you have these other people coming in. Like it's almost like another version or something, like another type of energy, like same type. I shouldn't say different, but like same type of energy, just different like wavelength or something. You know what I mean? Like they're going in there with comedy. It used to host all these like just like tippy top of like, you know, the A-list of like, you know, Hollywood. And then it's hosting huge comedians, and then just more of these, you know, it's been a hot spot for almost 100 years at this point. I mean, it's 90 years, right? It was built in the 30s. So pretty crazy. So, you know, Ciro's, the club, was only open until they closed in 1957. And then even after that, it was closed for a while. And then in 65, it reopened as a rock club. That Ike and Tina Turner played at. That must have been uncomfortable.
Well, for Tina.
Jimi Hendrix and the Byrds. So pretty amazing. And it was renamed like 4 other things during the time. It was called the Kaleidoscope, It's Boss, and then Patch 2.
It's Boss.
But then, that sounds like such a 60s name.
Yeah.
But in 1972, the club changed hands for the last time in our timeline. Yeah. And was reopened as the legendary Comedy Store. From 1973 on, it was run by the famous Betsy Shore, mother of Pauly Shore. She regrets it to this day. No, I'm just kidding. She's dead. Oh, that's fucked up.
Ooh, shame.
They're comedians fuck with each other all the time.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
But man, this was the place. I mean, we already talked about it a little bit, but holy shit. I mean, this launched the career of like everybody and anybody in the specifically, I'll just a little rundown here, man. Like literally. Richard Pryor, Sam Kinison, Roseanne Barr, Bill Burr, Chris Rock, Joe Rogan, Dave Chappelle, Jim Carrey, Rodney Dangerfield, Joey Diaz, Whoopi Goldberg, Bill Hicks, Andy Kaufman, David Letterman, Jay Leno, Tom Segura, Jerry Seinfeld, and Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit.
And that's just the tip. Like that's like there's a fucking slew of names
Yeah.
you don't even think of, and
Yes.
this place was their beginning.
Right. So just once again, going back to that point, like, wow. Like if we're talking about energies, like the people that have been in that building,
Yeah.
incredible. And then like, think about like emotions, right? Being like left there, like all that laughter that they bring there. And then like you said before, like, you know, how dark comedians are, right? So think about what those after shows were like, or those after hours and hanging out, just like commiserating and shit, right? Really interesting from like a paranormal perspective. Like this place, of course, this place is haunted. Like just the history it's had, like, and it's like had like 3 different histories if you think about it.
Yeah.
It had its, swanky swinging nightclub days. It had its rock club days, and then now it's the Comedy Store.
Yeah, and not even like its bootlegger criminal past days, you know?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's like, I mean, what other place would like even like come close to this?
I don't
mean,
just
a hospital, but not really. Like this, it's
well,
I don't know.
even
I just
the range of emotions too, like you were saying, like from one being like just we're doing crime here, people getting murdered, then also all the happiness, the things that's bringing into the fold, and then celebrities and just the energy within those walls that it could quite possibly have created some sort of vortex, like some of these comedians have said.
Yeah, I mean, and whatever that means, but like and the main stage, from what I understand, is like it's centrally located, so a lot of things like happen. Like just think of it from the perspective of all these people looking at this spot. You know what I mean? How many people have sat in those and laughed at that spot? You know what I mean? And then like all the people before that like partied in that room, and maybe anyone that may have been killed in that room after hours, like just. This one really boggles my mind, because it's like, if any place was going to be haunted, I mean, yeah, you have your classic places like, ooh, that place looks fucking haunted, but like this place from like an energy standpoint. Oh, and then also the illegal abortions. Yeah, it's like, oh my god.
Yeah.
But even when the club opened, and the first, not even the first, I mean, people started doing shows there. I mean, it was like that the open secret that like, oh yeah, the club's haunted. Like it was just like, yeah, it is. And even from the early days, people mentioned Gus, who allegedly, I got a couple things from him. Like either he's the ghost of a mobster bodyguard, or he was possibly even a doorman at Ciro's during the Ciro era. But most people agree that he was a mobster, and there was even another. I found 3 different names, so I didn't even bother to putting one of them down.
Yeah,
but there was where they came in and they said that it was like he was this guy. He worked for Mickey Cohen, and he was shot in this one room. So it's like
yeah. I came across a bunch of different names too, but I think like you said, the gangster thing, and I think the doorman thing, being that he worked as a doorman for Mickey Cohen, like I think that seems to be the most common.
Yeah. And then there was another one that when they were saying like, no, he's the ghost of a mobster for sure, and he's not a doorman. He wasn't a doorman. He almost is the doorman for that place. Like he is like the guy standing at like whatever this vortex is. He's like the doorman. You know what I mean? Like he stands at this vortex and like,
I like that concept.
Opens and closes it. Yeah, no, I really like that too. So, but he's famous for messing with the comedians while they're on stage, amongst other things. Famously so. You have the Jay Moore episode.
Whoa.
What?
That's gonna come back up later, because what I was gonna tell you. Someone just walked past my bedroom door, and no one's here. No one's here.
Are you serious?
I swear to God. You saw my eyes like. All right. Okay.
All right.
Let's keep poking the bear.
Okay.
Sorry, folks.
All right.
I'm recording right next to my bedroom door, and it's open, and like.
Okay.
Ooh, all right, and we'll get back to that later. Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
All right. Well, yeah,
chills.
ghosts messing with people while they're recording stuff.
Oh boy. Come on, Beeb, get
Yeah.
home. Get home.
I'm here with you, Ken.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, you got your dogs too, right?
Yeah.
They don't even care. They're,
They're just laying back there, like not even acknowledging it. Okay, we're good.
Well, you're a big brave dog, so why don't?
I'm a big brave man. Sorry.
So the the Jay Moore incident. Do you know? Did you see this one?
Yeah, yes, I did.
Yeah. Why don't you give us a little?
Yeah,
bit on
well,
that?
so Jay Moore, one night, he's on stage, and he claimed that every time he was on stage, he would get this cold feeling on, I think it was his left face and neck.
Mm-hmm.
And one night in particular got really bad, and he was like, doing his thing. And he usually gets, he's usually getting thunderous, laughter at this. Well, as much as Jay Moore could get, but he's doing his thing, and no one's like laughing, and no one's like really into it.
Mm-hmm.
So he, at one point, he's just like, he works through it in his head that like how a comedian would find like one person at a table, and if you get that person, you get the whole table, then that spreads. So he figures out in his head that a ghost has gotten to that one person and reversed the effect, whereas he is keeping that guy's laughs in, and it's messing with him. So he just stops his set, and he's like, hey, fucking ghost, get the fuck out of here. And after that happens, everyone just starts cracking up, and they start losing their mind at that point. And he was like, I figured it out. I worked it out. The ghost was messing with one person that I needed to fucking, to get with me. And then after I said that and kicked it out, boom, everyone was on my team.
Well, there you go. There's another similar one of those featuring the late great Sam Kinison with the lights. Did you see that one?
Oh yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
the thing before the lights, though.
Okay, good.
There was multiple incidents too where he would hear chanting, like a lot of it too. So the one with the lights, that was a different one, but he would hear just like almost every time he was up there, and he would hear like it wasn't the crowd, it would be interference with a mic and things like that. But you can finish his story there.
No, I was just going to say they have it on video too. One of the times, because apparently every time he came to the Comedy Store, he said ghosts, but he said the ghost would fuck with him. And specifically, there's the one night where they kept turning the lights off, which is strange because, like, all right, you could say faulty lighting, but like it was almost reacting to what he was saying.
Yeah.
And then finally, when he said like the last insult or whatever, the lights just came on, and then like you could almost see like. You can't see it, but it was like his demeanor changed. Like he's like, okay, it's gone.
Didn't
like,
he say show yourself? Wasn't he like show yourself? And that's when the lights went out. Ugh.
Yes. And the crazy thing about that is, I mean, a little bit about our boy Sam Kinison, former preacher, right? Like, and one of these like, one of these like Southern, fire and brimstone
evangelical
types, right?
type, yeah.
Evangelical, where like, it's all about, the fires of hell and, just trying to scare people into church kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But,
the
had
best kind.
Sure, the best, quote unquote. But apparently had a head injury, right? And after he had this head injury, his whole demeanor changed and decided to pursue stand-up comedy. But took his style of preaching to his comedy, right?
Yeah.
So people always thought that somehow, I mean, and it's whatever, but and then there's legends around these kind of characters to begin with, but people who knew him always said he was kind of in touch with the other side, like kind of always was. And like, so like when he's up there, doing his act and doing his bits, it was almost like, he was giving a sermon up there. And like whatever kind of energy he was putting out or whatever was, stoking some kind of, it was poking the paranormal bear, right?
Yeah,
Whatever
like he was channeling something every time he was doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, or he was just like an antenna, right? Or he was either like he was transmitting it or he was calling it in. And they said that these kind of spooky things would happen around him. And the nights when he came to the Comedy Store, whatever that spirit is there, or whatever it is, they did not like him.
No, sir.
And they would, they would fuck with his sets.
Yeah.
And a little further with Sam Kinison, because I think it ties into him, is how what happened to him during his death, which he died tragically, as I'm sure some of you know. He died in a car accident. But before he died, there's one of these strange things where he gets in this accident. These teenagers hit his car. His face hits the windshield, right? And he actually gets up he actually was able to stand for a minute. And there's a cut on his face and his lip, and they thought he was going to be all right. But his brother, who was driving behind him, came up and could kind of see that no, he's not all right. So he lays him down and he's holding him. And apparently he said, Kinison said to no one in particular at the time, he goes, "I don't want to die. I don't want to die." And then he paused as if he was listening to somebody. And then he asked, "But why?" And then after another pause, he's as if someone's talking to him, he's like, okay. And then the friend who was with him said whatever voice was talking to him gave him this right answer, and he just relaxed with it. Yeah. And then he just died. But they said it was literally he was looking and he was talking to somebody. So just crazy.
that kind of stuff, you want to say, okay, maybe head injury, maybe something, but
sure.
Oh man, whatever was taken over there, that is really creepy. Well, and the one guy that was there with him, another one of the stories, is one of the nights they were sleeping on the main stage, in the main room. Yeah, and he woke up and Kinison was floating 4 feet off of the stage.
Yeah,
and he believed it was Gus because Gus didn't like him and was, I guess, trying to pick him up and drop him or something, but. And he dropped him and he injured his back, and then he had back problems for the rest of his life, and they said it came from that. Now that's apparently it's documented or whatever, but it's legends. He's died young, died tragic, so there's going to be all these legendary stories around him. But I think it's really interesting that he's all these things are tied into it, specifically, him going to battle with these fucking ghosts at the Comedy Store. I mean, honestly, that's probably my favorite part of the guy. That's my favorite story of him.
Yeah, no, very, very interesting guy. I mean, his comedy's dated now. I mean, it's still good stuff. I mean, it's he's still still saying some off the wall off color shit, but he was revolutionary for his time. But no, it's a very interesting mix. He's got that if you really want to preserve your legend, go ahead and put something spooky into your backstory, right? Robert Johnson in the Devil at the Crossroads. He sold his soul to be the best guitar player ever, kind of thing. Whenever you tie those things together, don't worry, folks, we're gonna do him.
Yes, we are.
His music is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just that's the one that always pulls me in with the Comedy Store, and then with Kinison, because it's just he was he already had one foot on the other side, kind of, And one of the other videos I was watching too, I forget his name, but he was, I don't know if he still is, he might still be. He was the house piano player, keyboardist. He actually just died.
Really?
Yeah, he died a month ago.
Oh wow. Yeah, his story in the back alley. When he was going out the back door, I think he was going to have a cigarette or something. And he was walking, he sees through the door, the window, what looks like a guy in a white hooded sweatshirt. Right. And as he goes out the back door, he realizes that this is just, it's white mist or smoke in the shape of a human. And then as it goes down the alley, it kind of doesn't really dissipate, but it shifts. And he's this is just a thing. So he takes off running, almost runs into another one of the comedians, who then later says, "I saw that same thing earlier today up in one of the offices." So that that was a cool one, I thought.
Yeah, I actually just read that one, and the comedian he ran into was Tony Hinchcliffe.
Okay.
Yeah, he's not funny though.
Not all of them can be,
Yeah, I know. So these
world needs plenty of bartenders.
And doormen.
Yeah.
So most of these hauntings we're talking about, centers around this main room, but there's the second smaller upstairs infamous belly room. That's a weird name for a room, right?
Yes, it is.
So it's this room upstairs used for smaller, more intimate and like exclusive shows. If you've seen like the last like couple of Chappelle ones that he put out on Netflix, the one where he's in that smaller room, that's the belly room.
There you go.
So apparently this room got its name from when it was used to host belly dancers back in the Ciro's era. But then it also has sinister legend that says it really got its name from the fact that this is the room where they did all the illegal abortions.
Fun.
Wee. So I actually think it'd be even more weird if it got the name from just both.
Yeah. They're like, you know what's weird? Weird coincidence.
There was a belly dancer in there when I was getting this coat hanger abortion. It's like, what the fuck?
Grandpa.
Whoa. And I got my bathtub gin.
Yeah.
Yeah, awful.
Jesus.
So I think you have a pretty cool story that you found from another comedian that you saw.
Yeah. Are we talking the Bobby Lee one?
Bobby Lee.
Yeah. He was on Joey Diaz's show, and he starts talking, and it's funny too because he actually ended up having the other comedian. I forget the other comedian's name that was with him, but he actually had him on his other podcast to back up his story. But so they're outside. It's like 4 a.m. and they're out in the alley, and I think they're smoking or something. They're doing something, and they're about to go back in. And they look up in the window, and Bobby Lee says he sees what is like a glowing face of like 2 hands pressed against the window and a guy in like a gangster style hat. He said, top hat derby, didn't really know, but it was looking down at them. And the other comedian later said that he thought it might have been an old woman, but Bobby Lee was adamant that it was a man, like a gangster style dude. And they looked at each other, looked back up, and they're like, yeah, it's there.
You really saw ghosts?
2 times. Me and Johnny Sanchez saw at the same time a ghost.
Where did you see your ghost?
What do you mean? It's only one.
No,
there's only one ghost. There's only one ghost there, bro.
The belly room.
And his name is Gus. Do you know that?
Is that his name?
That's his name, bro. Gus, dude. I've seen Gus twice, bro.
Now, where did you see Gus?
The first time I saw Gus was Johnny Sanchez. You know that little Latino guy?
Yes, absolutely.
You know, he goes, hey, bro. I go, what's up? Let's do a gig in Bakersfield. So back in the day, I had this truck with no window. The windows were blasted open. I had no money. So I parked my truck at the Comedy Store. He takes his car. We drive to Bakersfield. We do a show. On the way back, it's like 3 a.m. now. Right? He drops me off at my car. We're standing in the parking lot, just talking about the night or whatnot. And we both look up at that top window, and we see a face, glowing, no eyes, no features, wearing a top hat, and 2 hands against the window, looking down on us. And we look at the thing, we look at each other again, and we look back up. It's gone. And we believed that to be Gus, my friend.
Yeah, that was the first thing he saw there, and then he had another one, another ghost sighting that he saw there. Oh, it was the piano. It was when he was playing the piano that used to be on the stage, and they moved it towards the bathroom, and he was playing on it, and he saw this just mass coming at him, like he thought it was like running at him, and he just took off running out of the room.
And when was the second time?
I was playing the piano at 4 a.m.
In the main room.
Yeah. Why are you laughing, dude?
I haven't really heard anyone say that
In
before.
the main room bathroom?
How many people can say they played the Comedy Store piano at 4 a.m?
I played it many times. In the back, that bathroom, that piano.
Yeah, that piano back there.
Okay.
Yeah. But back then, it wasn't in back there. It was on the side of the stage.
On the side of the stage.
Right. So it's completely dark, right? And I'm playing my own improvised little, Korean lullaby. Dang ding, dang ding, dang ding dong, ding. Dang, dang, ding, dang, ding, dong, ding, dang, stuff like that. And I look to my right, and I see a yellow suit with a top hat, but from far away. You know where the entrance is? I see it coming toward me. I run out that back door, to the hallway.
Yeah.
And I come back in, it's gone. And that I believe that to be my second encounter with Gus.
But the fucking creepiest one, he was saying one night, they were talking about the belly room, and he was working there because Bobby Lee at that point was an employee, one of the managers was like, look, they're doing something up in the belly room. Don't go up there. And he's like, what do you mean? It's fucking 4 a.m. He's like, what are you talking? Don't go up there, like, and they're like, listen, he's like, just don't do it. He's like, they're doing something up there. And Bobby Lee, of course, he's like, fuck it. He goes up there anyway around 4 a.m. And what he sees is about 12 people in purple robes with candles lit everywhere. And they were chanting. And I think his impression something like,
yes.
And he freaks out, doesn't stick around to see what's going on, but he sees them all leaving. And it's it's the actress Lily Tomlin. It's Bob Zamuda, who was famously Andy Kaufman's partner. And he was the other Tony Clifton character. But he said what they were doing is they were doing a seance to contact Andy Kaufman.
But can I just tell you something about that belly room also? And it brings up something, the scariest thing I've ever seen up there. One night at 2 a.m, I was hanging out there, okay? And they go, you can hang out here, but upstairs they're doing something, but you cannot go up there in the belly room. Like, it's closed. Who gives a fuck? He's like, there's something going up there. Do not go up there. But I went up there. The back entrance, up the black. I opened up that back thing, right? It's pitch black in there, but I see candles, right? I swear to God, I saw this. 15 people wearing hoods and purple cloaks. Oh my God. Okay? And they're chanting. Right? And then, so I go back downstairs and I wait to see. They come down after the seance. You know who I saw? One of them was Lily Tomlin. Okay? The second one was Bob Zamuda. You know Bob Zamuda? And they were seancing Andy Kaufman's ghost.
Did it work?
I don't know. I didn't stay up there long enough to know. But what I'm saying is that there's something about that belly room that is a portal of something.
Yeah. And that is like the creepiest but coolest like Hollywood ghost legend shit that is just like I love it, but it's so terrifying.
I mean, and it's like it's perfectly believable though, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah,
like
absolutely.
Hollywood, wacky fucking actor comedian craziness they're getting up to there. And it's like, all right, 4 o'clock in the morning. I would love to know what date it was. It's like, did they do this like once a month? Is this like a yearly thing? Do they fucking do an orgy afterwards? Like, is this some like Eyes Wide Shut like shit? Like, what's going on?
and then I Joey Diaz asked him, he's like, did it work? And he's like, I don't know. I was out of there. But can you imagine if it did? Like, that's where I'm at. Like, like, did they do this all the time because it worked? You know what I mean? Like, because. And then that also brings you to another thing. How long has that been going on there? And how has that affected the energy in the place? How much stuff has that called in?
Who knows, man? I mean, I'm usually of the opinion that people that do that shit, it's just silliness. But just bringing attention to it and maybe just just keeping that air of spookiness about, like. I definitely could see that there being some kind of like, I don't know, like it's just like you get sucked into that mood, right? You go to a place like that. It's just like, and it brings that out in people, right? So if you go to a place that's spooky, right? And you're into the stuff, you're like, oh man, then you just start talking about spooky shit, right? Like if you and I went somewhere and we know that it's got like a history, you're in that spooky mood. You just want to talk about it, and it's just you just get into it. So I think it brings out that spookiness in people, and whatever that spookiness is comes out in different ways. Some people show up in purple robes, and some people show up and yell at the ghosts fucking with the lights. Yeah. So I mean, I think that's a very interesting story, and I know, and the funny thing is you mentioned that he went on his show and like, so he could like back it up, because a lot of people were like, fuck you. They didn't believe him because everyone writes that guy off anyway, because he's a little bit of a clown. Yeah. But I believe that story, because that's perfect Hollywood like fuckery. It's like, of course they were doing that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, whether they're bored or they're just, really into it. It's something that's been around for a long time.
Or they're just really good friends with Andy Kaufman and were like, they knew the stories and they were like, they probably had some hokey, holistic seance performer that was like, you have to go to a place that's, really active with the paranormal, and you have to do it there because that's where there's a vortex. And, and I
mean, it was tongue in cheek, but they did the same thing, sort of did the same thing for Houdini for like what, a good 10 to 15 years after he died. They did the seance every Halloween because he died on Halloween. So same kind of thing. But I like that story.
I love that story.
And also speaking of two things. Speaking of the belly room, our man, you know who.
Who?
I'm coming through.
Oh, okay.
That's who.
Yeah, that's who.
Peter James was part of an investigation there back in 1999, like an all-star investigation, paranormal, obviously. And he had a few words about it. We're going to insert the audio here.
Smell the air. It smells very medicinal to me.
Yes.
It feels like a lot of abortions were conducted up here. That's the feeling I get. And clairaudiently, I hear the wail of babies, many babies up here.
Yes.
So this is the kind of energy that I'm picking up. It was thrilling to work as a team because in the past I did this as a solo act, if you will, the other few times that I was here. So it was really thrilling to be a team member, as I'm thrilled to be. So it's great.
Okay, so that's just a little clip of the whole investigation that's on there. But there's some whack jobs in that. And did you notice that the dude from Most Haunted,
the British dude,
Derek?
Yeah, and
Derek Acorah?
he's like, don't say that to me. Like he's like, having a bullshit argument with a ghost there. It's like,
the guy that used to get possessed by spirits and then kick shit over.
Oh God.
Yeah, one of my other favorites.
There's a man here. It's a man.
Something very evil.
Not a good man. Not a good man.
I know, I'm okay.
He's, don't you dare do that to me.
I'm doing okay.
Who's famous?
Hello.
I'm sorry.
In the men's room.
Forgive me as you come out. It's not you, my love, okay? Just go through.
Pardon me.
There you go.
He's on there, and Peter James is just like looking at him like, is this over soon? I would like this to be over soon.
Yeah, he's like, I will kill you.
Yeah, but as you've seen in the clip, Peter pulls the energy of kids crying, babies crying. So you've got the he either picked up the energy of or read the stories.
Yeah. Well, I think I think too.
Hold on, I'm sorry. I just doubted Peter James's power.
Yeah.
Peter James pulled in all the psychic energy.
Saint Peter James never told a lie.
Yes, with his enchanted flashlight.
Yeah.
And I said flashlight, not flashlight.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, he didn't carry that around.
Well, I don't think they had him back then, but anyway.
But he also, I believe, he pulled in the comedian who killed himself, Steve Lebedkin. I believe he said he died, but that story, so during the strikes that I think it was in the 1979, I believe it was, 1979. Basically she wasn't paying the comedians, so like the servers, the bartenders, the door, like those people were getting paid, but she saw the comedians basically like, all right, I'm giving you exposure and this is going to lead to a career, so if you get stage time, you go up, you kill it, why would I pay you? You're doing yeah, for real. But
that's that's like the old adage of I'll give you exposure, and then the famous retort is people die from exposure.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah, that's good. But so basically this one comedian, Steve Lebedkin, he ends up going along with a strike that was led by Jay Leno and David Letterman. These were the two leaders of it. So eventually they were, doing a strike, and they had a, picket line leading into, I guess, the parking lot, and a car, drives past them, and Jay Leno exaggerated this big injury, like it was made it way worse than it really was. But he's like, hey, about this? You see about this? Apparently a car hit me. Did you hear about this? But so apparently that so, and then you had Kevin Eubanks, Jay, but apparently
that'll do, pig.
Yeah, sorry. Crow pig. That'll do, crow pig.
That'll do, crow pig.
But so he ends up like cooler heads prevail, but then anyone that went along with that strike that wasn't like a big name like Jay Leno or any of the big guys that were killers. Steve Lebedkin got boxed out, basically got no more showtime. His last year of his life, he apparently only made like $1,000. His girlfriend leaves him, all this craziness. So what does he do? He goes to the hotel next door that literally shares a parking lot, and he jumps to his death. And he leaves a suicide note saying, I believe it was, my name is Steve Lebedkin. I used to work at the Comedy Store. And that's pretty much it. Then I think his ex-girlfriend left a note with his like press poster on Mitzi's desk that says, get the picture. And I believe our boy Peter picked up on his spirit as well.
Right. Oof, yeah, people didn't like her very much.
Yeah. No.
I mean, there's actually, paranormal things aside, there's actually a great, it's like a four-part series that came out. Was it on Showtime?
It was on Showtime. I believe it's on Hulu now.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think so, yeah.
I mean, it doesn't cover anything paranormal, but it's great if you guys are interested in, the history of comedy or just to see about that place and just, it started out great. Then it took a big nosedive, and then it didn't come back until like Rogan came back in and started bringing people back in, and like, it's a hell of a story. But anyway, why am I talking about that stuff? Back to ghosts. But then you mentioned before the Bobby Lee story, and he told his story on Joey Diaz's podcast. Joey Diaz, another legendary comic. He had his experience that he told about that. One night he was in the main room, and this was on like a Saturday night, like packed house. Full everything going on. He's standing there, and he's watching whoever it was up on the stage, and there's this like shadow blocking like one of the lights that's like projecting onto the projecting onto the stage. And he's like, what the hell is that? So finally he like looks up, and he looks up there, and he sees a guy in once again a suit and a hat. And then when he's like squinting his eyes, he's trying to like see his face. He pulls either like a trench coat or a cape over him, and then like moves away.
Yeah, fades,
like the Phantom.
Back. Yeah, exactly like the Phantom. Yeah.
Oh no, the shadow
knows. Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty funny, but like, and I was like, you know what? That's I don't know. It's so Hollywood. You know what I mean? Like that's a Hollywood thing to see, right?
Yeah, because
at first has a flair for the dramatic.
Yeah. Well, at first he thought it was Kinison. That's why he was saying he's like, I could have swore it was Kinison because of that, and then. Yeah, Bobby Lee's, no, man, that's Gus, bro.
Well, that's what he says, but it could be Kinison because maybe it wasn't a cape. Maybe it was, Kinison always wore that long trench coat.
Fuck yeah, he did. Fuck yeah. He was always whipping that fucker around when he's moving side to side on the stage. Yeah, man, it definitely could have been Kinison.
I saw, I thought it was Kinison. I was in the original room.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had like a 12:45 spot in the original room. It's Saturday night. This is the old days. The place is hopping. I hear a voice in the main room. There's a show going on in the main room on a Saturday night. I walk up, and it's sold out. I know Mitzi's in her chair in that booth there.
Oh, yeah, back in the day.
I didn't go in. I stayed in the hallway. But something, when I was looking at the comic, so the main room is that TV. The main room stage is that TV. I'm in the hallway. Something kept blocking the light from the belly room that was shining on the wall. So every time I would watch, something would block it. And I finally go, what the fuck is this? And I stepped back, and I looked up. And what I saw was...
What'd you see, dude?
I don't want to say this.
No, you have to.
What I saw was a guy look at me, but before I could see his face or what he had in his head, he threw a cape over. And he went into the belly room.
That was Gus, dude. That ain't no Sam Kinison.
And I was like, Jesus Christ. I finally saw my first ghost at the store. That's it. It's done.
Yeah. So, and I really like that one because, that, I don't know if you ever listened to his stuff beyond this, but like Joey Diaz is a good storyteller, but he's got a ton of stories, and he's not a bullshitter. So like, he's like, dude, I have two ghost stories. Like those are the two. There's one there, and then there's one in like the house that he grew up in, which is really fucked up. Yeah. But
I liked the one side story. Just a little side note to make it quick. When he was filming The Longest Yard with the how Paramount sent all like the clergy, to like bless it and everything.
Yeah, because they were filming it at I forget which prison, an abandoned prison, right? Because they're all convicts in that movie, the football players.
Yeah.
I think it was the Ohio State Reformatory, if I'm not mistaken, which
It
is
might
like
have been.
famously haunted. But yeah, the production company, which was like what, Paramount, or something.
Yeah.
They sent like one representative from every religion down there to do like an exorcism, a cleaning, a smudging.
Yeah, and they would pay.
Yeah.
They would pay
Yeah.
$1,000 to any of the cast or crew that would spend a night in there just to like
Yeah.
ease everybody's
Yep.
tension because of the riot where 7 guards were killed.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
crazy, man.
And then I forget who tried. It was like one of the stars of the movie, and they couldn't do it.
Yeah, I forget who it was, but dude, I would have killed for that chance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Send me
No. No, but yeah, man, that's there it is. There's the Comedy Store. I mean, people claim to see stuff to this day. I listened to this one thing where I don't know who the hell this person was or where they were getting their info from, but it was kind of like they were saying there's something about the energy of the place right now. It's waning right now. Like the paranormal energy there has like waned. Like they think it'll come back, but right now it's waned, which is interesting.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I kind of get that because like if you think about it, like LA's dead right now. Like nobody's there, like because of COVID. So it's like maybe whatever it is or whatever that like energy is, like it needs people to be there. It needs to get stoked up by people. Like Santa Claus's sleigh, he needs this. He needs this Christmas spirit to fly. So this ghost needs, spooky, vibes to, come on out.
I've always been of the eventually I came to my personal conclusion that fear, anger, all those kind of emotions, they definitely stir stuff up, and also laughter and things like that. High octane emotion. I always trigger something.
Yeah. So now I think Comedy Store, are we gonna have a ruling on this? Are we doing rulings on places now?
Yeah, I say Comedy Store is ODP canon.
Oh hell yeah! I mean, this is in if we have a Mount Rushmore of like haunted places, I'd put it up there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Just because of all the things it's been like, and all the people that have been through that place, it's incredible.
And because it doesn't, it rarely gets shouted out for that kind of stuff. It's usually just for the comedy.
Yeah. And we actually planned this episode before I even knew that there was a Ghost Adventures episode, which I actually sat down and watched the other day. And, it's their usual, latter day Ghost Adventures kind of nonsense. And it's fine. And like Jeff Ross is on there and he makes fun of Zach for a while. And I was like, it's whatever.
That's cool.
Yeah. But I don't know. It's not as cool as the early seasons.
Yeah, it's true. I did like when they went to the Viper Room. That was cool. I liked the Viper Room episode.
Yeah, it's fine. Anything past season like 5 is like it's all demons after season 5.
Yeah, well, what are you gonna do, man?
What indeed?
Once he got that back tattoo, man.
I know.
All downhill from here.
Oh, Jesus. So that's the Comedy Store. I encourage you, if this is your first run-in with the Comedy Store, I encourage you to watch the Unsolved Mysteries episode, obviously.
Yeah. And it's the first one on there too, so like they get right to it.
Yep. And it's one of those ones where Robert Stack is very excited to be talking about it. He's like, the rest of this episode is dog shit.
Yeah. He's like, before we get to families reuniting.
Yeah.
Real cool spooky shit.
Yeah. Fuck that missing kid.
Her face was blown off. Whatever. Fuck it.
Back to the ghosts.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, man. So I understand you have an update for us on one of the past stories.
Yeah, well, this was actually a couple nights ago, or 2 nights ago, getting ready for bed, and it would happen at the beginning of this fucking episode here.
Oh shit! I didn't know it was linked. Oh,
yeah, that's why I was. Yeah, my wife sees someone walk because we leave our bedroom door open, and Beeb sees someone.
Not anymore, you don't.
Yeah, well, Beeb sees someone walk past the door, just like a person, and I just locked up and got to bed, and it's a very small apartment. And so I get up, I go out, I go, hey man, you can't be doing this shit. I get up, Go out there. So the haunting of the new apartment continues. And then at the beginning of this episode, I saw it while we were recording. And hold on. Beeb, are you home? Oh, she's been home. Thank God. Beeb's home now. So
was that her before?
No. No one was home when I first saw that. Oh God. But yeah, so the haunting continues.
All right. Well, hopefully sometime soon we'll investigate this fucking haunting over here. But
they're clamoring for it. They need it.
I know, but you guys got to understand, dudes at Ken's work. I don't have names. I just know dudes that want me to do it. Sorry. I told my wife about it. She's like, no. She's like, well, if you get something, I don't want to hear the tape. I was like, okay. So because I had to sleep up here. I'm like, I know. I have the same thing.
I'll do the screening myself. I'll be the one to listen, and I'll let you know what happens.
No, I want to hear it. I mean, because if we pull some like Queen Mary level EVP out of this fucking thing, I got to hear it firsthand.
Yeah, true that, yo.
I think I should have the flashlight above my head though.
You have to, and I'll wear the
giant glasses and a recorder. Yeah. like Dr. William Roll.
Yeah.
Put on a fake Swedish accent or wherever he's from.
The good doctor. But so glasses and recorder it is.
Yeah, no, that sounds good, man. So we have some closing statements for the old Comedy Store or what?
Yeah, man. Dude, seances in the 80s, man. Seances in the belly room in the 80s is the coolest story to come out of there as far as I'm concerned.
I also like the detail of the purple robe. I don't know why purple robes is just like, ooh, it's like they have white masks. I don't know why.
Dude, who to be a fly on the wall in that in that seance, man. And what if they got something? Like
who knows, man? Like, what do they get up to beforehand? What do they get up to after? Like,
like what led to it?
Like what's going on?
Yeah. I would love to hear more of that. If we could get a clip of Lily Tomlin somewhere talking about it, or Bob Zamuda, because that's some.
See, here's what we got to do. See if Lily Tomlin, I believe she's still alive. You get her on one of those, you can buy from celebrities. They give you a birthday greeting on the phone. That's like they were advertising the shit out of it on Facebook right before Christmas.
What is it called?
Whatever that thing's called. Cameo.
There it is.
Cameo. We find her on Cameo. And then when we were like, oh, what do you want me to say? I want you to tell us what happened at that fucking that fucking night at the goddamn belly room. And then she just gives us just dishes. She just tells us exactly what happened.
That'd make my year. That'd make my year right there.
I mean, that's what I want. I mean, that's what we got to do.
Yeah, her face would probably go white, and then the screen would go blank. Is probably what would happen.
Exactly. Oh no, they know. We discredited Bobby Lee.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you did, but well, my closing statements on this will be Sam Kinison and those goddamn ghosts.
Yeah, that would have been awesome to see, man.
Yep. I just imagine because the belly room is almost like a loft kind of style thing. So it's like the main stage acts are going on, and you got Gus standing next to Kinison, and they're watching people perform shows. It's like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that is really cool. That is really fucking cool, man.
Yeah. So
all right, so it's official. Comedy Store ODP canon.
Yeah, I mean, it had any other choice.
Yeah, right. But all right, guys. I guess we're wrapping this one up. And for Other Dangers Podcast, I'm Ken James.
And I'm Jason McKittrick.
And as always, have a spooky evening. Thank you for listening to Other Dangers Podcasts. Have you encountered the other dangers? If so, you can email us at otherdangerspodcast@gmail.com. And if you'd like to have a discussion about the paranormal, you can find us at Other Dangers Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. There you can find submitted pictures, videos, and artwork from listeners. We are now streaming on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere else podcasts are streamed. And after listening, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so we can continue to bring you the other dangers.